heard today that a 21-year-old was taken into custody for, I guess, violating the church barricades. Could you share a little bit more light on what happened in this situation?
Yeah, so just for a little bit of context, Grand Lake Township is a suburb of Flint, Michigan, which a lot of folks will know in the Chicago area. Yeah, earlier today around 12:30, there was a press conference with all the law enforcement you could imagine. And shortly before that press conference happened, the sort of the crime scene, the huge barricaded area around the church that was victimized yesterday, a driver tried to breach that barrier, if you imagine kind of the orange cones and that kind of thing. And a 21-year-old was taken into custody. I understand that a weapon was retrieved, a gun from that vehicle. Now, it's unclear if there was malicious intent there or what the issue was, but yes, that did in fact happen today. And I think that police took that 21-year-old into custody, and they're trying to piece together if this had anything to do with what happened yesterday or if it was just like a very unfortunate set of circumstances or coincidences, if you will.
With this latest incident, has that changed at all how investigators are maybe increasing security around this active crime scene?
Yeah, I think that it's just really doubling down and underscoring that this is an active crime scene, and an immense one at that. As far as resources are concerned, I'm not sure you could fit any more law enforcement within the parameters, with the FBI leading this investigation, sort of promising all resources at the federal level, and then all of the sort of local organizations, law enforcement agencies following in lockstep with the feds under their directive.
What is the latest on the conditions of some of the 8 victims who were injured in this incident?
So four people, unfortunately, are deceased, two of gunshot wounds, and the shooter, the 40-year-old from this area, actually set fire to the church as well using an accelerant, likely gasoline. So two victims deceased from gunshot wounds. The other two victims believed to have perished in the fire after that roof collapse. Just awful, awful situation. There were 8 other victims that were hospitalized. 3 have been released from the hospital. 5 still remain in the hospital. 2 of those in critical condition, one in critical condition with gunshot wounds. The other is in critical intubated because of smoke inhalation. Now, in terms of what we're learning about those victims, we know the age range is 6 years old to 78 years old. And I know a lot of folks would want to focus on that little 6-year-old. We understand that they suffered a gunshot wound to the arm. They were transferred to a local children's hospital where they are described as stable at this point.
You mentioned that this area is a little bit outside of Flint, Michigan. How are community members in the nearby areas? How are they responding to this latest, I guess, national tragedy that we're now seeing?
Well, it's just heartbreaking, and unfortunately, our governor Gretchen Whitmer spoke at a press conference earlier today, and she said that it's become so common almost, but the pain, it still remains. So, this community, strong, very resilient people. I would consider probably like working class folks. I think we just are a part of an unfortunate club now that so many other communities around the country are now part of. And in terms of the LDS Church, we haven't heard a ton from them. They're trying to gather themselves. I mean, there were hundreds of people in this church on a Sunday morning, and not only were lives lost and there were so many victims, their church is now gone too. It's completely crumbled at this point, and that's such symbolism for what their religion and their place of worship will be undergoing moving forward.
And Jessica, last one for you. Have you gotten
Sure.
any updates from police on any more details revealing a possible motive by the shooter in this case?
Yeah, and that's it. We've been following it all day, and it's again not to sensationalize, this shooter or give him any more notoriety, but I think the thing is, people want to know why. It's part of the grieving process, and maybe moving forward in terms of preventing something like this. What we do know, he's a 40-year-old. He has a wife and a 10-year-old son. Unclear on his marital status at the time of the shooting. We do know he is a Marine veteran serving time in Iraq, and I think it's important to note that he did have, he was skilled with firearms and possibly explosives, as several IEDs, or those improvised explosive devices, were found at the church as well. So this is an attack that definitely had some planning. Our governor again urging people to sort of take the rhetoric down in terms of speculation, but we cannot ignore that this person chose this church in particular, in fact, probably passing a number of other churches on the way to commit this heinous crime. So there definitely seems to be a link in particular with the Church of Latter-day Saints.